and enjoy interviews with more of our game's greats on tape too. To think that a young fellow of the day is on the gangway in Fremantle boarding a ship when circumstances changed his mind, and whatever those circumstances were, it was to be the soccer world of WA and then Australia as good fortune. Of course, it was no other than Ron Adair. So Ron, you tell us about your soccer life in Australia. I know Brian has been looking forward to interviewing Ron, so thank you, Brian.
Yes, thanks, Dad. Yes, Ron, you were born in Ireland. What year did you arrive in Western Australia?
1949.
And what was your first impressions of things in Western Australia then?
I thought it was a delightful place. Still is.
Yeah. What sort of clubs did you play for when you first came here?
My first club was Victoria Park. I actually went looking for a guy I knew in Ireland, and he lived in Havelock Street in West Perth, but the only Havelock Street I knew was in Victoria Park, and I bumped into someone in Victoria Park who was connected with a big park soccer club, so he invited me over to play. That's how I got started.
How old were you, Ron?
18.
18. Tell us about the gangplank.
Oh, that I was wondering how you got to know it, actually. I actually felt rather homesick, and I'd organised to work my way back to the UK on a ship, and it was in the middle of winter, and I was going up the gangplank, and it was a day just like this, bright and sunny, and I thought, fancy leaving this to go back to that dreary place. So I just turned around and walked off, and I've never given it a thought since.
As I said, it was our game.
Yeah. And what about your early days? Where did you learn your soccer, Ron? You must have played junior soccer in Ireland, did you?
Oh yes, I played minor under 16s at the time, but never with a great deal of commitment or that until I got here, and sort of everyone was sports minded, you know, so
out here.
Yeah, so I got with a good coach, which was Alec Dixon, a Scotsman, used to coach the Vic Park club, and Alec was a good guy and taught you how to become committed.
And what was your impressions of WA soccer then?
It was strange enough. I found it very, very fast, because I suppose it's because the grounds here are dry. You know, in Ireland, the grounds are very heavy, and it really takes you about, I would say, it takes you about the first year to settle into the style of soccer here, to get to the pace of it here.
And who were some of the good players you played against in those days?
Oh, yeah. Well, local players?
Local players and state.
In the Australian days?
Yeah, well, I was fortunate actually. The first or the second year, first full season I had here, I got picked to play in the West Australian side to play the Australian team that was on its way to tour South Africa.
Oh yeah, what year was that, Ron?
1950. Yeah, it was 50.
Oh, you would have. Dad played in that one too, I think.
That's right.
Subi, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Bob Cherry was
yeah.
Subiac
Oval.
And that was a bit of an eye opener for me, but I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah. It was a good game.
Yeah, I had a good
What was the score in that game? That was.
I think it was around 2 each or something.
Was
or
it?
They might have beaten us 2-1.
No, it was 2-1, I think.
Yeah.
2-1.
Oh, that was the one Alex Mansfield was talking about.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
And how many times, I believe you did play for Australia, how many times did you play for Australia, Ron? What games were they, who were they against?
Oh dear. I think it was about 13 or 14 games altogether.
For Australia, did you?
Yeah.
And it was what, in the mid-50s to...
Yeah, 50s, yeah, it was in the 50s, yeah. It might have been one in the early 60s.
Did you play against that rapid side from Rossby that came out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd rather, even though we lost by a big margin, as it was in those days, I thought we played better than the score indicated.
Yeah.
That's correct. The game was a better game than the score indicated.
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah. I can remember that side. They were the first side that really played one-touch football, you know.
Yes,
And
they were.
they made. Yeah. I remember the one at the Wagon where Jack Smithers chased the bloke all around the oval. He must have put the boot into him. You remember that?
I remember him chasing him.
Yeah.
I don't think Jack was able to catch him.
No, he couldn't catch him. He chased him everywhere. Yeah. Have you got any funny incidents and highlights that you can tell us about over the years, Ron?
Oh, gee, offhand.
There's too many.
Yeah.
Were you ever, were you ever reported, or you had any?
Only once.
Because Bert Robertson was telling us about a spectator that was throwing stuff at him when he was coming off the ground somewhere on a local game.
Oh yes, that was against the old Azuri North Perth escapades at Bayswater Oval. Yeah, this guy they were actually throwing some stones at us, and
He copped a handful of gravel in his face.
and I jumped the fence and tried to get about them, but there was too many. I'm trying to get back over the fence.
That's when you were playing for North Perth?
Yeah, someone was actually biting me on the boot, would you believe?
Yeah?
Sunk the teeth in that boot.
North Perth had a good side in the days, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a good side, yeah.
Well, after all, don't forget, Ronald Adair, you won the Ledger Medal, which was the best and fairest in Western Australia in 53, 54 and 55. That's not a bad achievement, my boy.
Oh, yes. It's something I'm proud of, but you don't sort of anticipate it, you don't expect it at the time. I mean, you take every game as it comes.
That's correct, do your best.
Yeah.
There wasn't a fairer player than yourself, I can vouch for that.
Well, there are some who dispute that.
Oh, well.
But I probably knocked a few guys around, but it was never with the intention of making them out or anything like that. It was just hard tackling, and that's the way we were.
Yeah.
Because we used to play then.
Because as a centre half, you weren't a tall man. A lot of the centre halves that I played against, and even today, they're quite tall.
Oh, yes, they are. Yeah, generally.
And you played in the day when it was just one centre half. Now they've got a sweeper covering them again. You know. Yeah. And what about today, Ron? What's the life of Ron Adair today? What do you do with yourself? You don't follow soccer much now?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do. I'm mainly on paper or through the media, but I do. I go to some of the local games. I enjoy the summer games.
Yeah,
when it's warm, you can sit out there and have a drink and watch the games in comfort. And they're quite good. I find that the teams are not so staid because they're trying out new players, younger players, and they're more innovative. You know, they're not frightened to introduce somebody new. Yeah. And sometimes they perform, sometimes they don't. But I tend to think it's a good standard. It's a better standard than summer for some reason or other. Yeah.
Well, that's what we're endeavouring to do is to get our first division league a summer competition, and that would coincide with the new A-League side in the Ericsson Cup.
Yes.
And I think it'd really put soccer back on the map again, Ron.
So do I. In fact, I thoroughly enjoy following the National League in the Eastern States.
I think it's a good.
It'd be a great step forward.
We could play a major game as a preliminary to the A-League side, and I reckon we'd get thousands there.
Yeah. Yes.
Because we wouldn't be clashing with Australian rules football, and that's what you're up against.
It is.
You know, the crowds go to Australian rules.
Yes, and they're going to the rugby as well.
Well, if you go to a local soccer match here, Ron, there's not as many going as when you were playing.
Probably not. I went to see that Singapore side here a couple of weeks ago, just playing down here, and I was absolutely amazed. There would be lucky if there were 200 or 300 people there.
That's right.
And yet it was a very high quality game.
Yeah.
You know, I was really surprised at the speed and the finesse of both sides actually, because I've been to, I went to the cup final here last year, the local cup final. I was really disappointed because I suppose being a cup final, they don't want to take chances and things like that. I think Spearwood finished up winning about 4-3, if memory serves me correctly, and that would have been an extra time. But No, I really enjoyed that game the other night. It was under lights,
Yeah.
and it was really high skill on both sides.
Yeah.
I was surprised actually.
So you still follow soccer a little bit today,
Oh, yes, yes.
which is good because a lot of the older players don't go and follow it. They normally go to golf and that. They just play golf and watch a bit of TV.
Tell me, Ron, how did you find the attitude generally of when you played for Australia? Was it pretty hypoactive sort of thing, or was it just another game?
Well organised.
It was well organised. It really was well organised. And the very first game I played in that fifth test against China, at half time, the speed of the game was far quicker than what I'd anticipated or been used to, and I really was wondering how I was going to last out the second half. But somehow you rise to the occasion. But it is. You've got to be a bit more purposeful, I think, in your approach. You've got to think beyond sort of local level. I don't know how to explain it really, but
No, in other words, you lift your game another yard sort of thing, and you've got to be capable of doing that, and fortunately enough, you were capable of doing that.
well, I think you sort of psych yourself to a bit more dedication, a bit more
Just lift your
purpose.
performance, in other words.
Yes, yeah.
This is why sometimes as you pass the comment on cup finals and that, most players do lift their performance to their utmost, and that's why quite often you get a better game.
True.
In your case, you're playing for Australia, you're going to give your utmost.
Well, I think you have to when you're almost national.
That's for sure. Well, I think we've just about covered the main points, Brian, have we not?
Yeah, we've asked Ron just about everything. I think he's covered it pretty well. It's nice to see you again there, Ron. I haven't seen you for 3 or 4 years.
No, it's been a while.
Bob McShane, that was the last time I saw you.
Bob's farewell.
At the velodrome, yeah.
Not as farewell, benefit night.
Benefit night it was at the velodrome.
Actually, that was a really great night. I was actually leaving for Sydney early the next morning, and I wasn't going to go.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I should. I won't stay there, but as it turned out, I was there till about 1:30 because I met people like this.
Yeah. See, his other brother's died, and Frank's passed now too.
Frank was there, yes, and Bob, of course, and Bob Cherry was there. Stewie.
Yeah.
And a lot of old faces,
Yeah.
even old Ivan, I can't think of his name,
Who from?
Semenko or...
Szymensky.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
They actually turned up, and it was thrilling. It must have been a great thrill for Bob.
Oh, it would have been, yeah.
Must have been.
Oh, yes, he did a lot for soccer.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
He was a dedicated man.
Well, Ronald, all I can say is thanks for allowing us to come and interview you for our 100th year celebrations. And Brian, thank you very much for interviewing Ron.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Yep. And all
My pleasure talking to you.
And all we can do, Ron, is wish you the best for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It was lovely to come up against and have a talk to Ron. Hadn't seen him for many years. Western Australian soccer has been fortunate since its founding for having top quality goalkeepers, and in turn WA's loss is Australia's gain when the quality of the keeper is no other than our local groundskeeper Robert Zabika. The soccer fraternity of Spearwood are very proud of Robert. So Robbie, tell us about your junior days and how you made soccer your #1 sport, as you're also a top state cricketer. Tell us, Rob, firstly your junior days.
Mel, in my junior days, I suppose soccer wasn't really part of the trade in school. It was always football or cricket. But where I used to live, the old Cockburn ground there, the fruit growers stand, they used to call it. Just used to kick soccer ball up there, and that's how it all started. So I loved the way, the skill factor involved, and just decided to play it there and then.
Yeah, well, that was Spearwood's game, Robbie. Now, what about your clubs in your senior ranks you've played for?
Well, I started off at Dally's, obviously, Steeldale Matnack, started off there as a junior. Wasn't really involved a lot because, as I say, my cricket was very important when I was younger, but once that sort of, through injuries and stuff like that, just concentrated more on soccer. went to Cockburn for a couple of years, and then went to Massey's for 1 year, and then got snapped up in Analogue. Played for Adelaide City for 8 years, so I was pretty lucky.
Oh, you had the ability though, Rob. You reached your stardom once you left WA to play for Adelaide City in the Australian League. Your line of thought, more opportunity for our WA lads. Now we have a team in the A-League.
Oh, of course, in my day, I suppose, as I say, Adelaide came over here and I was lucky enough to play against them, and that's how I eventually got over there. Now with the A-League, obviously there's more opportunity, and without any doubt, to have the A-League here in WA is just a bonus for soccer, because I think, well, especially since I've been back, and it's been 2 years now, soccer's sort of gone a bit downhill. So I think the A-League is just a huge potential for young juniors, and it's something for them to look forward to rather than just playing in the local league.
Okay, now tell me about, firstly, how many times did you play for Australia?
Played around 40 times.
About 40 times. Now, I asked Ron Adair the same question, and he said the organisation, etc., was the greatest thing he noticed about it, how well organised it all is. How did you find it, with your coaching wise and the general trend of playing for Australia?
Oh, of course, it's a professional outfit, especially when you play for your country. It doesn't matter if it's soccer or whatever. Playing for your country is a great honour, and the professionalism obviously is something that's there. You're with the boys for, say, 2 weeks on a camp or overseas. You're training every day, morning, afternoon. It's a great camaraderie sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just fantastic. It's something that
just a big step, isn't it?
Oh, it's a big step, but it's a great thing. It's something that will never erase your memory. So.
And how did you find playing in Argentina?
It's pretty hard to describe.
Your reaction, that's correct.
Yeah, it was very gut-wrenching before the game, and it's very hard to sort of explain. I suppose you have to be there to sort of know what it's like, but to play in front of 80,000 people, and not only that, to be, it's watched worldwide. It was the last game to qualify, so it was just an unbelievable feeling. So it was great.
I think every television set in the field would have been on anyhow, Rob. There's no doubt about that. It's great to see you back playing for your local team, Robbie. Do you train just as hard now as your game is still in the top bracket? And it is a pleasure to watch your game.
Probably not as hard as what I used to in Adelaide. We used to train practically every night. Over here it's just a couple of nights a week. But the times that I do train, I try and be as much activity-wise as I can on the field and everything like that with the players. Fitness is an important thing. Not only that physically fit, but mentally fit. So, it's, as I say, it's only 2 nights a week, but it's an enjoyable 2 nights.
That's great, Rob. Now, what's your advice to any young up-and-coming player that wants to reach the top?
Just try and enjoy the game, I think. As I said before, when I was a junior, I just loved the game. And, once you realise that this is the sport that you want to play, try and give it 110%. You never know where it's going to lead you.
That's correct, Robbie. Now, thanks, Robbie. And may your future still be successful, as many of the world's top keepers play till they're around 40. And you're only 32, so you've got a few years yet. So may you have many more good seasons, and good luck.
Thanks, Laura.
Jack Smethurst. Back around 1926, a young couple arrived in Fremantle from the UK, and with them was their 5-year-old son, who grew up in the suburbs of Queen's Park and East Victoria Park School, was his initiation to the sport he loved, and later become one of WA's best known players. I have the honour to play against and with this gifted player, and his name is no other than Jack Smethurst. So Jack, tell us about your junior days.
Well, the East Vic Park School, that's about all it was, really.
And well, who was your coach? Like, did you have a coach, or
No,
that few and far between? You can't remember.
Yeah.
And what about old Dick Werner? Did he play a part once you joined Queen's Park?
Oh, yeah, Dick was the main one in Queen's Park. He was there all the time, anything you wanted, and well, right there. And when we had to go to the games, Dick had his truck there. He used to take us to all the games that we had there.
And you used to know, if you were a supporter, you used to know who Dick Werner was. You'd say, who's that bloke?
Yeah,
And it also mentions a Mr. Ashby.
Yeah,
Even though he must have played a big part with Queen's Park.
Yeah, well, he was mainly Welshpool to start off with, Ashby.
Yeah, and then of course they changed to Queen's Park.
Yeah, but he didn't go to Queen's Park.
Oh.
He did it was the old Welshpool.
In other words, old Dick took over from the Queen's Park side of it.
Dick took over from Ashby.
Yeah.
Ashby was the Welshpool.
Okay, now what about the clubs you played with during your career? Senior clubs, Jack?
There was Queen's Park, Kelly's and Perth City.
And all on a par, or was there any specific club you enjoyed more so than the other, or did you enjoy them all?
I played more with Perth City for years, so I'd have to say Perth City.
And during the war, I think you played on the East Coast, did you not?
There was Leichhardt, Annandale, and I was in the Navy then, and I played a lot of games with them.
And no doubt they wanted you after the war too.
They wanted me to go back and play for them. Offered me a good job, and
but you didn't. You stopped with the West.
I stayed over here. Yeah.
And I can always recall as you were playing an international game. I've got down here the Wacker, but it could have been Subi. But in regards to who it was, but I've never asked you to this day, why did you chase the player all over the park?
Well, he tried to kick me in the head. He was doing this double kicking, and just about knocked my head off. So I thought I'd chase him. So I chased him.
You chased him.
Yeah.
And during your career, you were a prominent striker, as they call it today, forward, and also you played quite a bit in defence. Did you prefer any?
Not really. I started off inside left, inside right, then went back to left half and finished up at centre half.
Yeah, for the purpose of those these days, the way they talk, your inside left and right's a striker, and
that's right, yeah.
and then of course your centre half is basically these days is your defender and so forth.
Yeah.
Different interpretations, but all do the same job on the park.
Yeah.
So, now, what about Jack Smithhurst today? Do you see any games at all?
No,
or
only on TV.
because we mean to say, well, you're living down here out of Manchester, you just
right.
about need a cut lunch and a water bag to get up to the metropolitan area,
right.
wouldn't you, Jack?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. It's good to have caught up with you again. Our soccer friendship goes back the best part of 60 years. Do you realise that, me boy? We're getting a bit long in the tooth, aren't we?
That's true. Then we went to South Australia for the carnival there.
Yeah, that was a good setup, wasn't it?
That was a good
I was
setup.
talking to another one I've interviewed, as you were asking me just previous. It was Bert Robbie.
Yeah.
And Bert was a good player, wasn't he?
Oh, yes.
He's one of the best.
Bert was one of the best, yeah.
Anyhow, Jack, thanks for the interview,
Good.
for our 100th anniversary tape. And all I can say to you is good health for the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. This is a great Victoria Park side from the 1930s. This side just about won all cups, all leagues for a number of years. And for the next couple of shots, I've got to thank Helen Smith, nee Henderson, who was the sister of the great Henderson brothers that played for Victoria Park. To Helen, I say thank you. (1938) state side, which defeated India at the Wacker ground, and the gentleman there with the circle around him is Helen's brother, captain of the state side, commonly known as Jock Henderson. There's some great players in that group. And it was the Indian side, and Helen's father was the manager. Whilst they're in WA, just take note of those sitting in the front, no boots. In other words, apart from the fullbacks, the team played bootless. I can remember because I saw that game. I have with me here Mr. Paul Zobek. Paul, in my line of thought, was also one of the great players that came from Poland to play in Western Australia. Paul will tell us about his career because I think he would have one of the highlights of career of any soccer player that ever came to WA. So let's know, Paul, all about your career when you started in Poland and your impressions when you came to WA. But first up is, tell us about your career in Poland.
No, in Poland, I was playing all my life in one club, Szambierki. It was the first division, from first to second, from second to third, and from third back to the first division, all the time with one club. I played for Poland from 1951 to 53. I played in the Olympics game in Helsinki in 52. In 53 I had a back accident and a grand I have operation on my knee, cartilage and ligaments. And that was signed as the end of my career. The doctor was saying, don't listen to nobody, I bring you back. And he brought me back and I was playing again. In 65 I come down here to Western Australia. Cracovia brought me over with other 3 players, 4 together. And I play all the time here for Cracovia. And I finish, I don't know exactly when, 75 or 74, something like that. Here I play for Cracovia and I play for the state team. I play 3 games, 3 years in a row for Western Australia in the Merdeka tournament, 66, 7 and 8. I play against Roma, I play against Manchester United and some other games. What to say about Western Australia when I come over? That's a big difference. In Poland when I was playing in front of a crowd of thousands and thousands. When I come over here, you hardly can see some people on the ground. And the same thing happens here again now. Not many people's coming down, not many people's interested. I don't know, maybe the soccer is not so good anymore like it was when I come over. When I was talking about that, some people were saying, oh, because you was playing. I think when we was playing here from 65 onwards, we won the Premiership in Cracovia, night competition, Dorsonia Cup. We have 3,000-4,000 people. Now you get so many people on the field. Now why? People they're sick and tired of the soccer because it's no good. I think the players they get too much money. That's the most important thing for them. They're looking how much. And I don't agree with that.
Yes, it is sad to see the greatest game in the world, the crowds we're getting here is very pathetic at the present moment.
Yeah.
What about playing gear today compared to your day, Paul?
I don't know.
Long pants and...
It's hard to say. There's a different style playing. I say, I don't know, maybe I say when we was playing, when I was playing, there was more to play to enjoy that. You was playing because you want to play, you enjoy the game. Here today there's like they have to play or they want too much or I don't know. It's not the same than when I was playing. I don't like it. I'm getting a little bit upset when I'm going down and see they're playing. Not many people on the field. Everyone start, they don't play so good. I don't know. It's not the same soccer than it was before.
Well, just let's hope that the new side, the A-League side, which is playing in Australia, let's hope that will lift the standard throughout and bring interest back again, Paul.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so, and I think so, because I have something for Gary. And not long time ago I talked with him, and he listened. He was one of them, he listened. I have to ask him, then what happened to all the young players from Azzurri, I'm still Azzurri, Italian club. They have so many young players, and when they grow older, to put them in the team, they brought somebody else in, and somebody else was playing for Italia or Azzurri. And Gary told me, no, that changed everything. You say, when I have a team, when I'm in charge, you change everything. And I believe him, and so far he's doing a good job. And I hope that's a good team come up now.
Yes.
The soccer back to West North.
Well, it's entirely up to us, the soccer community now, to put us back on the right track, isn't it?
Yeah, that's for sure. I hope everyone is behind Gary or behind the new team. And for sure, when a new team is here and the players from overseas from the eastern states coming here over to play here, then maybe the people get interested again.
Yeah, let's hope so anyhow. Now tell me about your coaching over the years. The coaching, did you receive any coaching in your youth, or was it similar to Bert Robbie where you had your ball and you did your own training?
Oh, I started my own training. When we was playing, I was living in a flat in Poland. Was 7 flats, long flats together, and we built a team, the flats, and we played road against straight against straight, block against block. That was the start of the game. And we have there a lot of spectators, the parents, all of them was looking how we was playing, and that was the start. And I started my first soccer in the I division in Poland. That's like here the amateur teams. And then Szambirki, the coach, come over and saw our game, saw me and signed me in 1949. And from that moment I was playing to 65 for the same team.
Yeah, that's lovely. Now what about incidents over the years? No doubt you'd have had some incidents, either in international matches or the Olympics or something?
No, it was
of interest?
nice. I tell you that's something you have to be there to talk about. That's Olympic Games.
Yes.
When I play against players like Puskás or Hidikuti, Perle, when you play Santos, you play in Poland. For Santos, you play against them. Here you play against Bobby Charlton and the players from Bobby Moore. That's something you will never forget. They're players that not many people can say they play against. Some.
No, I think Puskás finished up coming to Australia too, didn't he?
Yeah, Puskás was here in Australia.
And how did you rate him?
He was
great player?
A very good player. And there was, in my opinion, was one maybe better than him, that was Kostic.
Kostic, yes.
Yeah, Kostic was a good player, only Puskás had a better name or I don't know. He was the captain, and maybe more people talk more about Puskás than about Kostic. Kostic was a good player, the same as Hidikuti. You have to say, when Santos was playing against us, Perle, when he headed the ball from 16 yards, that was like I was shooting the ball. So good with his head. And you have games, and the Olympic Games, you play against them. I play against Denmark. We beat France 2-1. We play 90 minutes against Denmark and one half of the game in their half, and we lost the game. And that was the end of us. It's
funny how games go like that, isn't it? You had all the play yet you lose the game. It wasn't a marvellous education for you. Now, how do you reckon that? Did you enjoy them games any more than you did enjoy your games out here? Or every game you played you enjoyed?
I enjoy every game I play. I tell you, I'm injured. I have operation left and right knee and hip and all that. And when people ask me, what, you want to change and forget about soccer, because that's most of the time that's from soccer, I say no, I can try again, because that's the best time of my life to play soccer. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed to play for Western Australia and Malaysia. That was something new. 3 years in a row to play Merdeka in the King's Cup in Thailand was something. I enjoy it. Every minute of that.
In other words, it was a different challenge. Okay, well now, what's the day in the life of Paul Zobeck in 1996? Now your worries of playing football or training and so forth are over?
I'm getting a little bit annoyed when I'm going down, say they're playing. The Cracovia was that team, everyone knows that's that team playing the first division. Now they're playing the amateurs, you go down, it's a different style. I heard a lot when I see how they're playing there in the amateur side, because they couldn't afford. Not many people coming down to see it, not many supporters, and they have to play in the amateurs. Still I'm going down and see the games, it's not the same anymore.
Yes, well anyhow Paul, not only do I want to thank you for allowing me to interview you, but I want to thank you for your contribution to Western Australian soccer in our 100th year. As far as I'm concerned, many a game I have seen you play, and I can honestly say I have enjoyed it. And it was a pity we didn't have a video days of seeing you play for the young ones to look at today, because in my book you're one of the best midfielders that we've ever had. Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have with me here, have a talk with Len Dundo. Now Len is one of the true local grown products, shall I say. And his main feature was for 8 seasons, I think he won the goal scoring 7 times, and I think that's a feat in itself. But Len will tell us. Len, tell us the clubs you've played with and the general history of your playing days.
I started with Swan Valley out at Herne Hill when I was 15 years of age. I'd played about 2 years in the junior competition, went to league and played there for about 9 years. Did a 5-year stint with Inglewood Kiev, and then signed a 6-month contract with Kingsway Olympic, and then ended up staying for 9 years there. That saw me through to till I was about 37.
Then you went coaching, Len, didn't you?
Yeah, I coached Olympic for 1 season, and then I came to Swan IC, where I'm still at. Coached them for 4 years and took them up into the first division. And at the moment I'm still on the management committee, and I look after the contracts of buying and selling players.
Oh, that's good. It's great to see you're still involved, Len. The fact that you started as a kid playing in Swan Valley, shall we say. Your golden days of your goal scoring, Len. Can you tell us something about it? Did you do any special training on your goal scoring or what? Because you were what we classify as a freak. You get goals where no one else could.
Oh, no, I didn't do any specialised training. I think as I got a little bit older, I started to read the game a lot better and read players a lot better, and knew when to be and to where to be and when to do the running. And you need a little bit of luck at the same time.
Oh, that goes a long way too, but at the same time you've got to have the ability to be there when the luck's on, haven't you? Now what about your coaching? In your young days right through to your seniors, who was anybody principally you've got to thank for your coaching, or did you do it the hard way, you always had a ball at your feet?
Well, I can't really say that that any coach had a real great influence over me. I think when it comes down to playing football, I think it revolves around mainly the player, if he's dedicated enough, you know. And I mean, those years I played, I mean, soccer to me was everything, you know. And I mean, you were disciplined, did your own thing, and sometimes it came off, you know.
In other words, if you made a boo-boo, you think about that all the next week,
yeah,
wouldn't you?
that's right. Yeah.
Playing equipment, Len, it's certainly changed over the years. It's probably started to change in your young day, but I'm referring mainly to the weight of balls, the weight of your shorts and shirt and so forth.
Oh, it's a big change.
Difference, isn't it?
Yeah, big changes there. There's a lot more colourful there. Short sizes have changed, and you've seen them come up, go down. One thing I wouldn't be able to, I couldn't ever stand was having to wear shin guards, and now you've got it's compulsory. I just couldn't stand them. Yeah, well, you probably, as you say, if it had been compulsory in your day, you would have soon got used to them or got a pair that suited you, sort of thing. Well, I don't know about that. I tried that, and it never ever worked. I just felt that uncomfortable with them on.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Never mind. Now, Lenny Dundo is a soccer player. No doubt you had some incidents and highlights that you'd like us to record. Especially as a goal scorer, you wouldn't have been popular with a lot of people at times, would you?
No, it wasn't very popular with people, but I think they used to give me a lot of crap and I used to give it back to them, and I enjoyed that. I think it used to spur me on a little bit, you know. Even I go back to the year, probably the highlights, and one of the years when we won the league with Kingsway Olympic, and we were playing the Speedway Dalmatics down at their ground. They needed a point, and we needed to win the league. I think Frank Smirelli was 3 goals ahead of me. That day we ended up winning the league, won the Friendly Way League. I ended up top goal scorer, scoring 4 goals. And I suppose that's one of the biggest highlights, and it was also Kingsway's Olympics 25th anniversary, you know.
Oh, that's great, Len. Okay, what's the day in the life of Len Dundee in 1996?
Well, today I just work, and I try and spend some time here with the club. And when I did come to the club here 4 or 5 years ago, my aim was to try and push this club into First Division. Also, there's a big regional centre here, and with a lot of kids playing in the junior divisions for somewhere for them to go. And we are amalgamated with Swan District's soccer club. We've got 250 junior kids there, and we do specialised training up at their club, bring them here. Started off junior sides here, and as you can see today, we've got a number of our juniors playing in league today, where we're trying to push the local young fellas and give them a go, because the only way they're going to get experience is by playing.
That's excellent, Len, and I'll tell you now, the main reason why you're behind that is because you're a kid yourself in the same district. Am I right?
That's true.
That's how I feel about our region down in the Fremantle area, more or less, Fremantle Spearwood, because when you've learnt your soccer there, you never forget it, Len.
That's true.
Well, Len, anyhow, more than thank you for allowing me to come and interview you, to go on our 100th anniversary tape. I've watched you from the time that you play with my boys in junior state, and all I can say is you not only have been a credit to the game, but you are a true sportsman and a gentleman.
Thanks, Al.
Thanks, Len. John McEnroy. The main highlights of the game of football, especially for the spectators, is to see goals scored. John, over a 10-year period, 1959 to 69, was the leading goal scorer 7 times. This achievement alone speaks for the contribution John has made to WA soccer. So John, tell us how you first came to Fremantle.
Well, I came to Fremantle in 1951 as a migrant. I went to Fremantle Boys for a year.
How old were you then?
13.
13. And your junior days in soccer?
I played for Fremantle City till I was 18 and played 1 year with Perth City.
As a junior?
As a junior, yes.
Mm-hmm. I believe you did some coaching in your junior days, and also seniors. So can you tell us a bit about that?
Oh, yeah, well, I coached Tricolore's under-16s for 4 years. Tricolore's first team for a year. And also coached the Thin second division for 2 years. Then I came back again and coached under-13s, under-14s at Tricolore for another 3 years. Then coached Tricolore's amateurs for a year. So.
You were a busy boy for a few years, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, yes.
Altogether, how many years was that?
Oh, roughly 20 years.
20 years involvement
over
with...
a 30 year span.
Yeah, and would you do it again?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Not for monetary value, but for the friends that you meet, so.
Well, that was a question I was asked in relation to my achievements, and I said the greatest achievement was the friendship we made.
Yeah.
Well, how old were you actually when you started your senior career, and with what clubs did you play with your senior career?
Well, I was 19 when I started. Played with Tricolore and West Australia. Played with Tricolore all the time in senior career.
What about when you went east?
I played with Hakoah, the Jewish team.
Oh, you did?
Played 1 year there, yeah, in Melbourne.
What about some star players you played with?
Oh,
some of the good players that
played with quite a few. Say, and Lan Howell, one was Ian Coleman. He was as good as you get. Graham Martin, Tony Monks, Dougie Stewart.
Yeah, he was an Australian player, wasn't he, Dougie?
Yeah, he was, yes. He was my first coach as well at Tricolore.
Was he?
Yeah.
And how was he as a coach?
He was a good coach,
You
yes.
see, sometimes the top players don't make good coaches, you know.
Yeah, but up to then, junior coaching then, there wasn't many coaches around at all, so it was virtually just training Tuesday and not much coaching like they get today, so.
And what about today? What do you do today, John, in relation to your sport?
Sport, well, I hate saying this, but go to the football, giving soccer a miss now, so.
Yeah, there's so many, I'm finding with me interviews, there's so many, even off-camera talking, that have given soccer away. It's very sad, you know. Well, let's try and do something for soccer that's going to keep them players there, you know what I mean? I can understand it to a degree, why they're not attending soccer, because the turmoil at times doesn't give you any encouragement. But let's hope in the future, anyhow, with our new A-League side in, we can get the interest back into the game again like it used to be. Because I can recall games going to watch you play against Azuria and that, there'd be anything up to 4,000 plus at the game at Walk Park, you know. It was great. The whole atmosphere was great.
Yeah.
And you would find that even playing in that with that support, it lifts your game, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Yeah, all right then, John. There's none of your highlights you want to tell us about?
No, not really, no.
Not really? But at the same time, you did enjoy the years you did play the game.
Yes, enjoyed it, yeah.
You must have enjoyed it. They've won the goal kicking for several years and so forth. Anyhow. Well, thanks, John, anyhow, for talking about your soccer career. And on behalf of all those soccer supporters that you had given many hours of enjoyment, may I say thank you and good health in the future.
Good, thanks a lot, Alan. And thanks for what you're doing for soccer as well, what you've done over the years as well, so.
Thanks, John. Lovely to have a talk to John. I hadn't seen him for quite a while. And he had won the leading goal scorer 8 times, not 7, plus the Desugler medal. Quite an achievement. To all the sporting personnel who have given their time to our 100 years of soccer video, may I say thank you. Some of the emblems and shirt styles worn over the years, as you notice, the swan is always prominent. 3757. 60 to 76. I was coaching Cockburn United in the playing days of this great player. When we played Windmills, to score we had to penetrate Windmills' defence, and that was expertly led by no other than Theo Papp. Theo was a gentleman with great playing skills, and that is why he won the state's best and fairest trophy in 1964, 67, 68 and 70. Yes, that was a record in itself, 4 times. A great winner. And I can assure you he was up against stiff opposition in Theo's era. So let us have a talk to Theo about his football career.
Yes, Theo. What year did you arrive in WA? Because you were born in Holland, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I arrived in 1956 in September, and been here ever since.
Have you been back at all, Theo?
And no, I've never been back there. It's, as far as I'm concerned, too cold over there.
Yeah.
So no, the only places I've been is over into Asia.
And did you play juniors in Holland? Did you, Theo?
I played 1 year of juniors, because juniors actually didn't start in Holland until you were actually 12 years of age, and which was a bit more controlled than what used to happen here. You used to have to go for a medical before you even got your playing ticket, in other words.
And when you came to WA, what was your impressions of soccer in WA?
Well, I'd only had the 1 year in junior soccer over in Holland, so therefore, impression-wise, there was not a great deal. All I was looking for was having a game. So the standard, or but then when I did start playing in junior soccer, the first club I played for was Maylands United, and that was I think it was under 17s, under 18s, and I was a 13-year-old boy, so quite a bit of age difference between the players.
So you played all your soccer here for Windmills as a senior, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I went to Windmills in 1960, and I never played junior soccer after that.
And who were some of your coaches, say, playing senior soccer then in those days, Theo, for Windmills?
For Windmills, well, there would have been quite a few, but about the only sort of ones that stand out, or the ones that I sort of remember which weren't bad coaches, would have been top would be Dick Jones. The other one, which was a very tactical type of coach, would have been Frank Schaefer. But some of the others, they were just sort of, to me, well, not really. They were sort of more in the line of an organiser of a team than real, tactical type coaches.
Did you play under Ernie Hannigan at all?
No, I didn't.
You were finished then?
I was finished then.
Yeah. And what about playing equipment, Theo? If you got any comments on equipment as it was in those days and it is today? Earlier on, there was a different type of equipment completely to today. Have you got any comments on that?
Oh, well, not really comments. I think the equipment itself has sort of changed, but and it's also for the better. It's a lot lighter, and I know when I first started playing, my first pair of boots with steel caps on it, which sort of restricted movement a lot, but I suppose in a way it also helped preserve toenails.
Yeah, I think when it all boils down, Theo, it's the body inside the equipment, isn't it?
That's right. But nowadays it's the state and the art of the shoes. I tried the first pair of screw and studs. Whilst I was playing, actually someone from Adidas came up and I trialled them, but they weren't any good because they were too sore on the feet. You could feel the studs screwed into the shoes.
Yeah.
But now I believe they're a lot better.
Yeah. The moulded rubber ones were the best.
Well, that's all you need here is the moulded studs. The grounds are always hard, and you don't need the the muddy conditions that you play under when you go over, especially into Asia.
Have you got any funny incidents and highlights that you could tell us about that happened over the years?
Oh, not really any funny incidents. It's I basically went out to play a game. I never went out there to make a spectacle of myself or become like a jacker of football. About the only time I remember ever getting pulled up and name put in the book was in a cup game when I went up for the ball. I was beaten. I was the last man in defence, and the ball went over my head, so I took the big specky mark and put it down on the ground for a free kick, but the referee didn't take too kindly to it.
So that was when they'd only just brought the rule in about you got your name taken for that.
Yeah.
So once upon a time you could probably do that.
Well, you could have done it, yeah, you could have got away with it, you know, but the rule now is, you know, you get your marching orders.
Yeah. Now that you've retired, Theo, a day in the life of Theo Papp today, what do you do? Do you follow soccer at all now, or what's your life?
What's my life? No, well, I don't follow soccer at all. I've got a young son who plays, he's the only sportsman in the family now, and he plays cricket and in summer and football in winter, so, you know, it's basically, you know, well, my time is allocated on weekends to that sort of thing, and, you know, if I can sort of get there, otherwise I'm at work and driving a taxi, or about the only other sport I play is I play squash on a Monday night, and but apart from that I don't do a great deal.
Now, by looking at your fitness, Theo, you must do something, because you still look fit.
Oh, well, occasionally we sort of get together, you know, like we were lucky enough to, Alan Pendleton sort of got the ex-state players together last year, and we had played against the Malaysian, or the ex-Malaysian national team when they came over here in May last year, and we had a couple of games, you know, which was good. You know, it was good to see, you know, people you hadn't seen for 20-30 years, and one other sad occasion was on not so long ago when we had a benefit match for George Tapasi, who unfortunately has got a disease, and you know, he's not in the best of health, and you know, which was at the Athena Soccer Club, and that was only earlier this year in February. You know, that was, and you saw some of the old players again. You know, it's always good to see sort of old faces, and you know, although you don't reckon you've sort of changed much, but you know, all the others seem to have gotten older, except yourself, of course.
Yeah, that's a common thing, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what about you? What do you think of soccer in WA now? Do you think it's progressing?
Well, from the times that I've seen it, on the odd occasion I've been to a night game, you know, a few years ago, and but no, I don't think the standard has sort of improved. You know, maybe it's gotten faster, and but standard-wise, you know, just not the real excitement that there. Well, to me, there seemed to be when we were playing.
I think it's because we don't see the goals scored today. I think, you know, people like to see goals scored.
Yeah, well, it's
more
maybe
a defensive game.
Yeah, it may be that. You know, it's you know, especially when you sort of see games at the velodrome, it's so close up, and you know, as soon as the ball's passed, you cut down. You know, it's the end of a move. You know, it's very hard, and to me, well, sometimes they try to speed it up too much. You know, you got to walk before you run. So you know, you can't, if you haven't got the skills to play it at a fast pace, you've got to slow it down.
Yes, well anyhow, Theo, more than thank you for allowing us to interview you for our 100th year tape for WA Soccer. Thank you, Brian, for coming along with me to interview Theo, and Theo, it's been great to meet you again, because I had many minutes or hours of enjoyment watching your performance on the field. Thank you, Theo.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Brian.
And thank you, Brian, for interviewing Theo.
Right, thanks, Dad. Thank you.
And all the best, Theo, for the future.
Right. Good luck.
Our game in WA, over its century of performances, has taken all of that time before we entered a team in the Australian League. This gentleman, who has worked tirelessly to bring this dream to fruition, is no other than Paul Afkos. So Paul, tell us how it all began and its prospects for the future.
Yes, thank you, Alan. The task of getting the team, or Western Australia's team, into the National Soccer League, it has come with a lot of passion of the game that we have, and also some hard work and efforts by the present members of the Glory board. Our chairman of directors, Nick Tana, heads the board of Glory, and with myself, fellow director Tony DiFrancesca, all prepared an application for Soccer Australia to assess, and we were successfully given the approval of our application to commence a team in the Ericsson Soccer League. All of us, the Board of Glory, have a lot of passion for the game, as I mentioned, and a very strong passion by our Chairman of Directors, Nick Tana. But however, it's also our involvement in the game goes back some 20 or more years, and while we've all played and while we've all participated in administering local soccer clubs, well, we're now taking it into the bigger steps, where we will now administer the National League team for Western Australia. And Perth Glories is a name that we've chosen for the team, and I believe, I'm very confident, we have the players in Western Australia, and with good coaching staff, I'm certain that we will prosper, as many of our other sporting codes in Western Australia have prospered in the national leagues. The work of administering the day-to-day operations obviously is vested into our General Manager, Roger Laffour. Roger certainly has many years of experience, and in particular with the juniors, and then Chief Executive of the Soccer Administration, and he's fallen into the position of General Manager for Glory very easily, and we are quite pleased with his progress, and we're looking forward to competing in 1996. We have been told that our starting date is 13th of October. You'll certainly be starting with a bang, and as our launch was on the 5th of December of 95, we had a tremendous launch with a lunch at the Burswood, where some 950 people attended to witness the launch by Premier Richard Court of the name Perth Glory.
Yes, there was no doubt I was at that night, or that day, the luncheon. It was an excellent day, actually speaking. That's how it finished up. Problem-wise with players, no problem, or?
Well, the important, following our acceptance into the National League, one of the key personnel that we need to have in our group was the coach of the team, and we have selected among many applicants that we have received a very successful player and local coach, Gary Marocchi, and in fact he reached the highest that any player could, and that is to captain a national team, and we believe we have one of the good coaches, or the best coaches in Australia, and I'm sure Gary's work with the players, which he has already identified some 16 players, of which 9 of them have been already contracted. We're still continuing. We have about 4 or 5 months before the start-up date. We should have our full squad finalised well before then.
Yes, well that's great, Paul, because I don't think in the long run your players will be a problem, because we've got some terrific youth in this state, and now they will get the opportunity that the likes of myself, vintage days nowadays, but in our young days, and a lot of the young players of the day never had the opportunity to succeed, such as the A-League side should succeed, and I have every confidence in you doing well.
Oh, very much, Alan. I agree with you. In Western Australia, we seem to have very natural, talented athletes. Let it be swimming, Aussie rules, or soccer. We just seem to have that natural ability to produce good athletes, and soccer will be no exception. And we're very confident that our team will encompass the bulk of the Western Australian players.
Yes, and I think up to now you've gone the right way about it all, Paul. I've heard no disgruntles amongst the soccer followers. They're all quite happy about it, all waiting for the day when the kick-offs takes place, and I do think that it'll do soccer a lot of good in this state. But anyhow, thanks, Paul, and may I, on behalf of all soccer supporters in WA, wish the Perth Glory all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
I can claim a strong background in soccer. In fact, when I was growing up, my next door neighbour was the late Fred Axon, the former secretary of the WA Soccer Federation. So in the late 50s and the 60s, my weekends were Aussie rules on Saturday and soccer on Sunday. We followed North Perth, and the names of Adair and Franken were right up there alongside those of Farmer and Clark. Mind you, in recent times, I've gone to the soccer to get away from people and relax. It's always so peaceful. Nobody's there. But now I get the feeling you're trying to sabotage my Sundays. I'm predicting big crowds, and they're long overdue. It certainly is an exciting day. The centrepiece of today's function will happen in about 50 minutes. At that time, the Premier will unveil the brand new logo. But in the meantime, let's meet a man who loves public speaking almost as much as Graham Lasso loves David Batty. The Chairman of Arena Investments, Mr. Nick Tanner.
Thank you, Dennis. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all here today, as this is the beginning of the fulfilment of the soccer dream of many West Australians. As we all know, West Australia has a distinguished record of producing international champions, both on an individual basis and also in team sports. Cast your mind back to the swimmers, the runners, the high jumpers, the tennis players, and many other individuals. Also great team efforts, such as the America's Cup, the Perth Heat, the Western Warriors, the Wildcats, the Eagles, and more recently, the Reds, the Dockers, just to name a few. We sure can produce champions. And today we are here to witness the birth of what's going to be another successful team in the field of soccer. We are confident that we will go into the annals of sports history as being a very successful soccer team from Western Australia. We are following in the national trend of playing a sport in the Australian arena. It's about time that the West Australian public and the soccer lovers and the soccer followers unite to follow their own WA team. In September 1996, our own homegrown soccer players will compete with the best Australia has to offer. We are sure that what we have come to expect from our West Australian talented youth, that our boys will continue in that tradition and excel and bring further glory and sporting fame to our wonderful state. Our young children who start their sporting development with soccer will now have a more defined career path. They will be able to play at junior level, followed by state level, then national, and ultimately at international level. Hopefully in the biggest sporting event in the world, bigger than the Olympics, the 1998 World Cup. Soccer in Western Australia has been a sleeping giant for many years. Today we awakened that giant. It will rise to become an excellent source of entertainment. And with your help and our hard work, we are confident that it will become a powerhouse in West Australian sport. Other WA sports have set the benchmark for success, and today soccer will take up that challenge as we launch our team. Soccer is the greatest game on earth. It is the most played field game in the world. Next year we will field a team with quality players, which I'm sure that all of us West Australians will be proud to support. He is a person who will elevate Australian soccer to world-class status, which it so richly deserves. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Chairman of Soccer Australia, Mr. David Hill.
Well, to Mr. Premier, to Jim McGinty, the Leader of the Opposition, and to Members of Parliament, many distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Soccer Australia and all of my colleagues that are here today, can I say how honoured we are that you've invited us to share in this magnificent launch of the new Perth soccer team. I'm joined today by the President of Australian Soccer, Neville Wran, by my board colleague from Melbourne, Dondi Fabrizio, the Chief Executive of Soccer Australia, David Woolley, and our two international coaches, Eddie Thompson and his wife Pauline, and Les Scheinflug. For us, the Perth entry is extremely important, and thanks too for the reminder that over here in the West, with a huge lunch like this, you don't do anything by half measures. Because I have to say, I don't think I've ever been to a bigger, grander soccer function than you're putting on here today. We're delighted that Perth is putting a team into the National League, into the Ericsson Cup. Soccer in Australia now is very strong and getting stronger. At grassroots level, we have more young Australians, male and female, playing soccer than all other football codes. It couldn't be stronger. At the most senior level, at international level, and this is much harder for Australia than either AFL or rugby league, we're competing against 190 countries. Soccer is the #1 sport in every country of the world bar 6. And Australia has now become, under the leadership of Eddie Thompson and Les Scheinflug, a highly respected soccer nation on the international stage of football. We will qualify for the 1998 World Cup finals in France, and we'll do Australia proud when we get there. At Olympic level, we came 4th in Barcelona and just missed the bronze. And we've set ourselves the target for Atlanta and beyond, never to settle for less than a medal. So at grassroots level and at the highest level, you can be very proud of what soccer has achieved and continues to achieve. You've probably noticed, and that's why we're here today, that we have been upgrading and reforming the National Soccer League. And this year it's going like a rocket. The football is very strong. The league is financially viable, which is a hard issue nowadays in sport. The crowds are up, and we're getting far more media and television coverage than was ever the case before. Perth is critical to this strategy, because Perth coming into the league means we have a genuine national league at last. And if you think about it, we are the only genuine national football code. Aussie rules can't put a team into Canberra or Newcastle or Wollongong. We do. Rugby league haven't got a team in Melbourne or Adelaide. But until Perth came in, we couldn't boast that soccer had a genuine national league as we can now. We have every confidence that Perth will not just be competitive, but Perth will be a success. It's got everything going for it. A lot of people probably don't appreciate that West Australia has always been a great nursery for Australian soccer talent. We've got lots of your young fellas playing in our National League teams in the East. You've got Western Australian fellas playing for West Ham United, Leeds United, Nottingham Forest, Notts County. You're not only providing great soccer talent for Australia, but also for the great clubs of the world. Perth brings with it not only good players, but a tradition of supporting its community teams, whether it's rugby league or Aussie rules or any other sport. And we have no doubt that the Perth community will get behind this Perth soccer team. And finally, I have to say, in Nick Tana and Paul Avkos, two great West Australians, you have as good, if not better, management, a critical factor in sports administration, than anywhere else in the country. I'll make a prediction. This team will do as much, if not more, for soccer in Australia than Western Australia has done for the AFL. I guess a number of you from the corporate sector are looking at this as a possible vehicle for the sponsorship of your companies and your products. Consider this. These games that this team will play will be televised on SBS, on Optus Cablevision pay television. The highlights will be on every network news and sports program, including the ABC, and it's beamed into Asia, both by satellite and downlinked on local cable. We can give you, and this team can give you, more television profile per dollar, I'll wager, than any other product available. And if you're considering a very good vehicle for your product or your company, give this some consideration. Finally, can I say, the success of this team will be based on a lot of effort from Nick and Paul and others, but in the end it's going to be your success. You, the Perth community and West Australia, and I'd like to wish you all the very best for the future, because a strong Perth soccer team is good for soccer. Thank you.
Let us reminisce in 1896 of the personnel travelling by train to Fremantle to watch either the Civil Service, Perth City, or the Crusaders play the Fremantle Wanderers on the Fremantle Oval. Yes, they would have passed the Town Hall, still the same today, down William Street into the Fremantle Oval. Same oval. Grandstand was opened in 1897. Certainly a time to remember, and to give thought and thanks to our pioneer officials and players. Perth City League winners 1896, Fremantle Wanderers 1897, Clutterslove entered the league in 1897 and won the league in 1898. 1899 season won by Civil Service, and the year 1900 won by Perth City. Perth City, the league 5 times in the first 10 seasons. The clock striking on the time of 6:30 brings up our 100 years of officialdom in WA soccer. So let's once again thank all those personnel that have worked for our soccer over the 100 years and wish the game all the best for its future. As, after all, we are only caretakers of our game. So please in the future, be good caretakers as clubs come and go. But our game is only as good as its caretakers of the day. Lovely shots of Fremantle by night, aren't they? I would like to finish off with a poem specially written for our 100 years, Fremantle's Mall. 100 years of soccer. 100 years of soccer played in this vast state. Yes, it's a soccer century. I think that's really great. A side in every settlement, wherever a patch of grass, where boys could play the game, dribble, shoot and pass. From Karratha to Geraldton and across the land to Kew, in Exmouth and in Northern and even in Parapadu. Over the hill to Kalgoorlie and Albany on our southern shore. There's Busselton and Bunbury, and there's many, many more. Through the suburbs to the city where the game has really shone. Clubs in all their glory, both sides of the River Swan. Soccer was played at Freo, this state's most important port, and fishermen as well as dockies enjoyed our greatest sport. 100 years of soccer, it's time to celebrate. Yes, it's a soccer century, now ain't that bloody great. Thank you, Ted Gray, and thank you all for viewing, and God bless.